All week, we're looking back to when Superstorm Sandy took aim on the tri-state area 10 years ago. Long Island correspondent Jennifer McLogan has reported live from many storms and in all kinds of weather. But nothing compares to the destruction she and her crews witnessed in Lindenhurst and Freeport, Long Island during the superstorm.
It was the dream house of Scott and Meryl Gouvin.
And I seen the water view. My wife said, okay, let's buy it.
Never knowing the Great South Bay would within years begin to swallow their Lindenhurst home.
My daughter was screaming, "We're gonna die, we're gonna die." Everybody was crying in the house.
They huddled together on the top floor as Superstorm Sandy raged.
It lasted all night, and the water started coming inside the house, and we didn't know what to do.
A storm surge of nearly 9 feet flooded 1,600 Lindenhurst property south of Montauk Highway. The Gouvins' home temporarily uninhabitable.
The storm surge started coming in, smashing of the waves. It was coming in to this window.
It was so scary. All the power is out.
We were at this very location, Bayview and Atlantic, 10 years ago this week, jarring memories.
Jennifer?
Maurice, now we're in Lindenhurst, Long Island, on the South Shore in Suffolk County. It is a battle zone, a war zone. Look behind me. From home to home, everything is gone.
We tried to help, spending days in the ravaged area.
I've been here 42 years. I was a little kid when I came here. I bought my parents' house. I'm second generation. It's just devastating. It really is. It's just... But thank God we're okay.
The flooding was so widespread here, officials say, because of the village's proximity to Jones Inlet and because Lindenhurst waterfront communities are ribboned with canals.
Sir, can you show our audience your home, if you don't mind?
There's not really much to show. It's the roof of where my bedroom was. And there was a dining room there.
Homes pushed off their foundations, water and debris trapping residents.
In that corner, there was a father and a daughter. They get into the attic. And then next day, we heard them screaming. They couldn't open the door.
Lifting up and just floating.
It was just floated underneath and it hit the next house, which is now an empty lot.
The Gouvins' insurance paid $76,000, 2/3 of the cost to rebuild. They're relieved today because some of their neighbors who got funding from New York Rising are now being asked to show receipts of proof or repay the state.
If you help people, help people. Don't ask them 10 years later their money back. I don't think that's right.
15 miles west in Nassau County, the famed nautical mile in Freeport was under salt water. We were there shortly after the Woodcleft Canal burst at the seams.
And we had like 8 feet of water here, like total destruction, this whole area.
Gerard Bracco's fisherman family settled here from Croatia and almost lost a fish market here for generations.
Docks were ripped up, all our equipment was lost, our electrical systems were lost. It was devastating. I've never seen anything like it.
Transformer fires destroyed businesses. Bracco's restaurant was shuttered. FEMA funding helped.
We worked hard. We had to work our way back.
The community rallied around the historic mile, and family pride helped salvage Captain Ben's.
I have 3 sons here, and we have a good crew, and everybody pitched in.
The nightmare, Bracco said, brought Freeport together.
So it's really getting busy here. Hopefully the future will be bright.
And the Gouvins, their children now grown and out of the house, say, withstanding Sandy's fury.
We love the house and the neighborhood, our neighbors, everybody. We are happy here.
Sandy spawned activism and a greater sense of community across Long Island. I'm Jennifer McLogan, CBS2 News.
Jennifer joins us now to give us a look behind the story. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Cindy, it's great to see you.
Now, where were you when Sandy hit Long Island?
Ironically, it was family weekend at Davidson College, and our youngest, Elle, was being honored. So my husband and I flew down, all excited, and then we got word from the CBS desk that the path of Sandy was shifting. And could I please figure out a way to get back to New York immediately? Now, that was a Saturday. All flights closed out of Charlotte, Charleston, Savannah, anywhere near there. So I got a flight on Sunday, which I found out was among the very last to come into New York. We actually flew over Manhattan coming in, and I noticed big construction type of apparatus on top of buildings, skyscrapers, and one specifically on 57th, because we were just right low. And I was thinking, I wonder if that's going to be in any danger in high winds. I thought, well, I'm sure they would have taken it down had they known. But sure enough, landed and met the crew, and our adventures began.
Wow. Now, you've been covering Long Island for so many years. What was it like for you to see your community, your home, so devastated by Sandy?
Personally, our little village lost hundreds of trees, and they came down crashing on our driveway, on our neighbor's home, up and down streets. It was really chaotic. And of course, we lost power. So my husband is now in North Carolina. Our 3 kids are in college or graduate school or above. I was home alone trying to negotiate things. My car had a little bit of gasoline. I would try to meet them. And of course, the lines were growing. Fortunately, you know, we were working 8 to 8. So I was home very little, but I would be lighting candles, and I had water so I could shower and then make coffee was about it, and then get ready for the next day.
You started storm coverage in Suffolk County and ended up in Lindenhurst and Freeport. Tell us what those communities were like when you arrived.
We weren't really sure exactly where the brunt of the storm was going to come. We were still guessing, and I got the early shift right away. I met the crew at 7 p.m., and they said, be ready to go on the air at 2 a.m. And who was anchoring? It was you, Cindy. Oh. I remember standing on this little bridge in Quag and having you say, whoa, it's pitch black there. What's happening? And the bridge was tilting back and forth. The boathouse was starting to float. It was all dark out, and we were so nervous. And you were, you know, we were chatting back and forth, trying to make sense of what was happening. And then as daylight came, we moved west because we realized the farther west you went, the closer to New York City, the worse the damage. That's when we came into Lindenhurst, below Montauk Highway. South of it, the Great South Bay had just overspilled its banks. Feet and feet of water, getting through only by a boat or a raft. And we spent about 6 hours there. And then we're hearing that businesses are washed away in Freeport. And we tried to get down Montauk Highway. We got some escorted by some of those amphibious vehicles. And we got into Freeport only to see the nautical mile Woodcleft Canal completely devastated.
Well, I have to tell you, Jennifer, you know, we worked together for so long, and I know whenever I might be tossing to you out in the field, you are going to be in the thick of it. You are fearless. You work so hard, and I don't know, take this time to say thank you because you're amazing.
Cindy, thank you. Thank you so much. And we feel the same about you always being there for us. And that's, I think, what made it through, having the love of the colleagues and the support of the people in the field, because our communication was so poor. You know, the IFBs weren't working all the time. And I remember you taking up the slack if I couldn't hear you. And it's always a two-way street.
Well, what were some of the greatest challenges you and your crew faced reporting on Sandy in the aftermath?
I think it was that communication, not quite being able to know where to go. That morning in the Quag Bridge, I remember the daylight coming up and our managing editor, Dan Foreman, saying, you've got to move west. And then I lost everything. We couldn't, there was no telephone service, nothing. So that's how we kind of landed in Lindenhurst and, you know, trying to call back, and then finally just getting up and getting on the air and trying to maneuver through some very wonderful first responders loaning us the Kodiak boats and the rubber rafts to get to where we needed to go.
And how did recovery go after the storm? Because for so many communities, it took a really long time.
We revisited some families in Lindenhurst. They took at least 6 months to even get back into their home, and the houses across the street had all washed away. This is on a particular Bayview Avenue West, and we traveled then back into Freeport to see those businesses, and some of them never recovered, never built back. There's going to be a hotel that's going up at the end of the Woodcleft Canal. The fish market and his restaurant, the fish market closed for many months, and the restaurant almost 2 years. Now they're back on their feet.
Wow. It is our job as journalists to report on what's happening, but this was happening to you too. How were you able to separate yourself from the story?
Well, I think a lot of my neighbors knew that I was home alone, and they came over at night to try to lend support. I know my colleague Carolyn, also on Long Island, we would chat every night to try to bolster each other. And she would ask me if I needed more candles and things in the home as we were still waiting for the power to come back. But I think it was the love and the feeling, the pain, so we all could, share that feeling, and everyone knew we were all in the same boat together.
What is the most poignant memory you have of that time?
Oh gosh, I guess it might have been that first morning in Lindenhurst when the light's just coming up and the people realized that there are about 8 feet of water. I know one woman came running out, crying her eyes out because she couldn't find her dog. And I think the dog honestly had washed away. It was so painful to watch, but they had an American flag. There were boats that had come up from the marina. It was circling the whole house, derelict boats upside down, crazy scenes. And then this woman who's kind of collapsed in my arms, hugging me, how can we help? What can we do? And I guess that our job kind of as journalists was to reach out and try to share their stories as well as we could.
You did a terrific job. And, as you're describing that scene, I can just see it. Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And, I think that Sandy spawned a lot of community togetherness and social activism for change. And we've learned a lot.
That's so true. Jennifer, again, thank you. We're going to be revisiting our reporting from Superstorm Sandy all week long on CBS News New York and in our special documentary, Sandy, 10 Years Later, streaming Thursday at 7 p.m.